This series of videos will be walking through a fictitious project with CameraMatch. We will be using some files here, and these files are available on our website. Feel free to download them and follow along. So the first step here is to place a CameraMatch reference. But before I jump into that, I'm going to go ahead and bring up a site photo. And I will mention a couple of things about this particular photo. One is that it has already been corrected for any barrel distortion. So any of the straight elements that we may want to use for CameraMatch are indeed straight and not curved due to any kind of distortion. Okay, another thing that was also done was there was some touching up to get rid of some scaffolding over in this area, and also a crane that was jutting out in this area. So there are some other areas over here that we may want to deal with. CameraMatch can deal with some of that, and I left those there so I can show you how. Okay, so as far as that CameraMatch reference object, what that object is simply a 3D object that you place in your model, and what you're going to do with it is pinpoint a location in space that you want to pinpoint on the model. In addition to that, it also allows you to rotate some axes to orient that model in space as well. So this will all become more clear when I walk through it. So let's go ahead and close that image, and let's go ahead and open our tutorial file in Vectorworks. Okay, in this file we've got 3 design layers, and the one layer here is simply the existing model, and this model was found online and imported just for reference and cleaned up a bit, but realistically we didn't need to do all that. If we knew the dimensions, we simply could have just created a mass model. Just knowing how high these elements are and just where they are is all we needed. So we could get by without all these columns and things that complicate the file. But for this tutorial, we're going to just leave all that in there. And now we have 2 other layers, and they contain new elements for the design. So let's take a look at them. Okay, this layer, we've got just some window elements here, or storefront type elements. It's simply just window objects here. It was just to get the point across, and a few other elements in here, a couple of walls, and a few image props, and a car over here. And we have one other layer, and it's mainly just roof objects here with some more glass in there and some signage. And this was just an element here to create shadows onto the windows. So that's it. We really were just interested in what was going to be visible in the rendering. And so if we can bring all this on at the same time, you can see here the complete model. And again, we're not interested in things that we don't need to model because they won't be visible in the rendering. So that's all we have there. Okay, so as far as that CameraMatch reference object, we need to pinpoint that on this model, and we're also going to locate it in the CameraMatch object on the photograph. So let's go ahead and place that, and I'm going to go back to the existing layer, and I'm going to change my layer options to active only, and we will go to our place CameraMatch reference command, and it'll ask us to name that object, so you can give it some meaningful name. I'm just going to keep the default, and here I'm going to snap to this corner right here, and I'm going to rotate. You can see the axes rotating. I want to rotate it so it fits to that corner, and there's that object. Now let's look at this in wireframe, and you can see here we've got a green, blue, and red axes lines, and these all correspond to vanishing points, and those vanishing points will be defined in the CameraMatch object. The red axis is pointing along horizontals in the model that we will use in the photograph to define the right vanishing point. The green axis is doing the same for the left vanishing point, and the blue is again doing the same for the vertical vanishing point. Okay, so that's it for the reference object. The next step will be creating a viewport and placing a CameraMatch object.